Pisces. I gotta say, either you're dealing with a real shit or you're being a real shit. And you know I always tell the truth, so you need to log off now if you can't handle it. Bottom line is, there is somebody who is being or has been extremely frivolous with their morality and their responsibility to a situation or a circumstance because it was easier for them to not face themselves instead of owning up and being a fucking adult and having a goddamn conversation about it. Now, this may not be you. It could be somebody that you're dealing with, in which case you're probably all like, yeah, girl, I know exactly who that is. But if it's you, you're probably all like, oh, she's yelling at me. She's just yelling at me. Yeah, if it's you, I am yelling at you. If it's not, I'm yelling at them. But the bottom line is, this is a real shit. And I'll tell you why. Because they had so many opportunities to come clean and have a conversation, to just open up and talk about it and just say what needs to be said. But instead they internalized it, they kept it to themselves, or they did some really subverted stuff. Like they did some kind of creepy, not creepy necessarily, but kind of unfair, passive aggressive communications that you couldn't respond to, or you didn't have a chance to respond to. And ultimately there's just this sense of really it's almost like this person, this behavior, let's say this behavior is actually causing a lot of pain to their own creative development. It's kind of like an outcome or a projection of why they've stagnated. They're questioning themselves all the time about, why aren't I what I want to be? Why aren't I happy with my life? And there is abundance here. There is a sense of forgiveness. There is like this aura of somebody having the potential to forgive. But first, the forgiveness has to be asked for, and it has to be acknowledged that maybe someone didn't listen to somebody, or et cetera, in order to open up the doors and say, hey, but that's the point, is this mental block needs to be removed before they can move forward with being their best selves, or achieving their best selves. Because ultimately there's just some sense of this is causing a block, mostly in creativity. Whatever you work on, whatever you create, this is what's creating the block. We'll get into specific details with tarot as to what exactly is this block. But ultimately there is a sense of blocking somebody. Ironically, it's almost like somebody is blocking what would make them forgive themselves or allow them to open up their heart to themselves. They just don't want to go that deep or go down that route. And so they're sort of like skating on the shallow end. It's like this could be a really good, wonderful time. But it's not. There's something irritating. It's like somebody is trying to pretend like ain't nothing wrong. Like everything is on the surface, jumping around, and everything is all good. And that's really not true. That's really not true. And I think it is an extension of, you don't understand still, or they don't understand that they don't understand why something ended the way that it did. There's still so much ambiguity around this ending that happened. Now, what this ending is, how it's playing out in your life, well, you need to leave that in the comments below, because I don't necessarily know, because it's a general reading, exactly how this is playing out in your life. But there's definitely a sense of, I just got this in. This just in. There could be a sense of you trying to use your creativity to rectify this situation. So if you're never going to get an apology from somebody, you're never going to get any answers from somebody, then ultimately you're using your creativity to try to fill in the blanks in order to have some kind of catharsis. And if you watched my weekly astrological forecast, which is up on Vimeo and Instagram for free every single week, you can go there, subscribe to both of them, and you'll get notified when it comes out. But essentially it's I don't know. I just heard knocking. It was weird. I thought it was my dog, but I don't think so. Subscribe to both of them. Born_without_boundaries over on Instagram. I go live there all the time too, so you can interact with me that way as well. It's a lot of fun. So come on over there, or just subscribe to Vimeo. You can go there from the link below. It'll take you right over to the Vimeo page, and then you just go to the main page and you can subscribe. So anyway, the weekly astrological forecast is named Catharsis because there is a completion. There is a coming about, and it's almost like in some ways what has kept you from loving yourself or being able to move on because you were in confusion. You didn't really understand why this ended or what happened, and nobody let you get an explanation. They just pretended like everything that was okay. They fucking moved on. They walked away from the circumstance, and there was no explanation because it was easier than to actually confront it, which is a really immature, fucked up, stupid thing to do. At least acknowledge that about them. Like, don't be so nice, Pisces, that you're tempted to not acknowledge that they need to grow the fuck up and actually confront. Like, have some sort of dialogue about this situation. But they didn't. This is a predicament that you're in because sometimes we don't have that choice, right? We can't choose other people's actions, but sometimes we have to deal with the consequences created by somebody else. And what do? You can't not deal with them because they're obstructions. They get in your way. So ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to create an ending. You're trying to use your creativity with, I don't know what you do, even if it's work in a science lab, because Einstein was a Pisces. Yeah. Actually, a lot of scientists are. There's just this out-of-the-box thinking that comes with genius that Pisces energy really helps with, you know. It's like that Neptunian energy that is just like thinking way outside the box with no boundaries, that really kind of contributes to genius, is what I'm saying. Yeah, so ultimately, I don't know if you knew that, but just an FYI. But this is really using your genius or using whatever you have to try to fill in the blanks that somebody did not give you a chance to fill in. And I think that you took this out on yourself a lot. There was just a sense of really having to look at yourself and finding why you're okay, or seeing beauty in yourself again. Maybe asking, what did I do? Like, how did I impact this circumstance? You know, was I not loving enough? This is love, but this is more about self-love. It's about an angel is looking into a pond of water to remind you to love yourself, and that there is reason that you do deserve love, and that you are whole, you are complete. You are lovable, right? And she stands by nature. So this is also a call to a return to nature. Literally return to nature to try to ground yourself and calm yourself and free up all of those toxic emotions that have been stuck with you and that have been impeding your ability to love yourself, because you have all these fucking questions that don't have answers. And so ultimately it's like maybe literally going back into nature, or just getting back to simple things. Things that you do have a hold on, things that you can control, things that you can grasp, things that are tangible, to really ground yourself in what you do know and what you can impact now, in order to really help liberate yourself from this confusion that you have to live in that's really bothering you. Yeah, there was just some sort of ending that never had any conclusion. You're not really sure why somebody ended something, or all of a sudden this sense of to make things stop, to let go of a burden very quickly. Things were left in the air instead of addressed face on. Things were just sort of like any kind of burden. This should be like an ending of a burden, but really it's an abrupt end to a difficult situation that and then this abrupt end, this death of sorts. You don't really understand why. I hope to God that it wasn't a literal death for you. And if so, I am so sorry. But I mean, it could be for some of you out there, in which case you have my prayers. But ultimately, I think this was an end of a circumstance, a relationship, or a situation. Somebody was just not taking their responsibility seriously. They were being very morally lax, you know, and because it was easier for them. It was easier for them to not care than to confront. And that's really selfish energy, just letting you know. In some ways, there is this is blockage to me. This is blockage because the moon is the things that you keep to yourself, the things that you keep hidden, stuff that's hidden, and what you really want. So in other words, you're really hoping, or they're really hoping, that they really do want to end this conflict. They're really hoping for an ending. They just don't know how to go about reaching out and asking you for it, or vice versa. But there is a hope that inside them. They don't talk about it. They haven't told anybody about it. This flippant attitude on the surface is not really what's going on inside of them. It's not. There's guilt here. There's shame. But that's just going to kind of like multiply itself. You know, it's like being ashamed of being ashamed. Just it's just like a reminder of how they failed or what they didn't do. This is interesting because you have a lot of nature card here. You have a lot of nature card. You have nature all over. Inner conflict, but that's nature. Getting back to your nature. Understanding that, you know, we always divide ourselves and we split ourselves up into little bits and pieces and say, well, this part is lovable, so I'm going to show people that part, and the other part I'm just going to disregard. And I think that that's what this person is doing. They're basically saying, well, I'm ashamed of that part of myself, so I'm going to pretend it doesn't exist. But we are our yin and our yang. We're all parts of ourselves. Like we're the whole thing. We're a whole package. So we're not always perfect. We're not always precious. We're not always beautiful. We're not always right. That's just not. It's about being able to accept all sides of yourself and own that you're beautiful in your entirety and not just the bits and pieces that are easier for people to accept. And it's being able to accept that through compassion for either yourself or themselves. That's the only way they're going to ever be able to come to the conclusion. This is compassion. This is opening up and forgiving somebody's darker sides. So the sides of somebody that they really don't like. It's like somebody's going to have compassion, take the first step through compassion. It's almost like, yeah, somebody's going to have to take the first steps through compassion. Compassion is about deciding to love those ugly bits and pieces of yourself. You know, like deciding to still believe that you're worth the investment, even though somehow you fucked up or you made a mistake. I don't know what's going to spur them into deciding that. Maybe we'll get into that with tarot, but I feel like creativity is having something to do with your catharsis right now and your way of saying, I love you and I forgive you, even if you never listen to this. Even if you never hear it, I'm going to use creativity as a way to purge it and move on and say, I love you and I forgive you, or just, this is how I see it. This is my side of the conversation. I hope that you respond back. This is interesting. It's almost like communication or good advice coming from nature, that's why I say go out and simplify your life right now. If you have any brain fog and you can't make sense of things, go out and get back to not just nature itself, but your inner nature. Like see about what it is about you that may be adding to your difficulties right now, or just making you more confused. But this is taking advice from an unexpected resource. And it could very well be, and we're going to go into the animal totem cards. That's the next part of this reading. So it could let's pay very close attention to what they say, because it could very well be these messages are coming in through animals that connect with you, or just sort of visions that you have in nature right now, or looking up in the clouds and seeing a shape. It's almost like your imagination itself is going to help put together through nature the answers that you need and the inspiration that you need to be able to create an answer for yourself or understand the circumstance. The answer itself could be coming through these very subjective pathways. So it's very important now to be open to unexpected communications and untraditional communications. There's a sense of gratitude Gratitude being what is going to open up your creativity, and being very thankful for the ability to create right now. And that's why I know the catharsis is coming through creativity, because there's a sense of gratitude for creativity itself. Like, thank God I have this, or I wouldn't be able to make any sense of it at all. This is also shapes and trees, right? You know, maybe getting messages, knowing that somebody's thinking about you through shapes that you see in nature. Just an FYI, pointed that out to you. This is what lets me know that it's not all happy yum yum right now. There's something that's bugging you. It's bothering you, and it's been sitting there buzzing around you and maybe even eating away at you for quite some time. That's when this card shows up, and intention. So there is reacting to this situation with a decision, right? Like, what was the intention? And maybe it's the person's intention that you're really confused about. It's like, what did they really mean by this? You know, why did they do what they did? Why do they think what they think? You know, it doesn't make any sense to you why they would behave in the way that they behaved. So it could be their intention itself that is confusing you. This card could also speak to behave with intention. This point on, just make a decision. Even if you don't have all the information, make a decision with the information that you have, because that's all you can do right now, and you need to do something in order to move forward. And this is the way forward. Creativity is bringing out, this is a time when great creativity will be in your head. There's a lot of inspiration that's coming to you, and it's flowing to you as if a gift from God. Field of Dreams is a card that says you have been through a shitty period, and now finally it's opening up into some abundance. And creativity itself is like, could be the abundance, is like finally getting the inspiration, or the words that you need, or the images that you need. It's like the abundance is coming, or the abundance could be coming to you in weird ways, in ways that you don't anticipate. Let's get into the spirit guide cards. Especially like, who is visiting Pisces this week? Pisces. Okay, there's a lot. There's a lot here. Okay, so let's leave that there. Let's go to pile number one. Pile number one says, yeah, this has been building up for a while, and it is an illness. It's a sickness. Sometimes this is literal illness. For this reading, I feel like it's mental or emotional, but there's definitely a sense of this has been creeping up for a while. This is a situation or a conflict that's been building over time, and somebody just tried to like put it under the rug and pretended it wasn't there, but this conflict was actually always going to have to come out. And it's just like, because where there's one mouse, there's 400 in the walls. And that's the reality of the situation that you're looking at right now, is that this was something that was building over time, trying very hard to be the diplomat. This is Libran energy, to just blend in and pretend like everything was okay. Didn't work for you. Take time to heal. There was really an adder in the roses. There was a snake in the fields. There was actually so much danger that's been building. This is also Kundalini energy. It could be unconfronted passion, unconfronted desire that was building up inside of them or you or whoever it was. But this is unconfronted passion or desire that was building up. Somebody tried to make it look like it was nothing. There is always too much emotion. This is Pisces energy itself. So it's all emotion. There's so many emotions built up here that have not been confronted, and that includes desires or passions that were not recognized or realized. This had to do with somebody that you were either having sex with, or coupling with, or that you were friends with, but it definitely had to do with a partner of some sort, maybe somebody that you work with, and then they broke free. All of a sudden the relationship ended. They walked away. I'm describing these facts to you because this is how it's coming. Just like I'm just describing the circumstance, and you tell me if this is resonating with you. But this is like all of a sudden they just sort of like broke free and had to like, or they spewed truth all over you, right? Because Aquarius energy can also be actually finally being honest. But there was no, it was almost like you were stampeded. There was nowhere for you to go, overcome any obstacles. It just like, it's like you felt stampeded, or this is an energy of somebody that just stampeded you or railroaded you, or you did it to them. Just like kind of like not just bulldozing over them and not giving them a chance to being bulldozed over and not having a chance to respond or talk, like one-sided conversations or accusations. Know your worth. So this is maybe finally the time in your life when you've realized maybe this person is not for me. This person is not supposed to be in my life, or having now to be forced to find a sense of self-worth because your self-worth was compromised because of this circumstance. But it definitely was inspiring. All of a sudden, creativity just starts to spew out of you. Learn from the past. This is also stampeding energy, but it's also a sense of move on, move past this, because in the past, when you've tried to hold on to something that's been sick for a long time, has it worked? It hasn't worked. So there's a sense of some sort of event that happened before this event happened that will let you know that giving this much energy to this circumstance is not really a good idea. More Virgo energy that says, I just want to just focusing on health, focusing on details, maybe focusing too much on details. Be loyal to what you love. This is Cancerian energy. Trying to stand by somebody, trying to be the bigger person, trying to make things work. Almost like a sense of maybe there's loyalty here that you didn't predict, or that you couldn't foresee, or unexpected loyalty. This is still impacting you. This happened in the past, but it's still very much affecting you and affecting your ability to move on because you keep thinking about it. This is catharsis. So this is finally being able to move on from this circumstance. Maybe somebody themselves, they were just going through a developmental stage and they needed to transform. And this is it. This is about things are changing. And maybe you're just going to have to find a way to accept that change, even if it isn't comfortable. Time for a deep dive. This is love and romance. Could be a good distraction for you right now. And make your dreams real. Scorpionic energy. I don't know if this is a love from Scorpio, but this could also be feeling very controlled by a desire or a passion or a romance, and wanting somehow to, in other words, liberate yourself from just being all about that person, instead of like almost like feeling like you don't have room for yourself anymore. Yeah, this was definitely against God's plan. Either bad news, or that's why it's so confused, because it's almost like you're crossing swords with your own heart. Instinctively, intuitively, you know what the answer is. Giving it your all. This is philanthropy. Maybe giving too much. This is more Scorpionic energy, finally being able to identify or take responsibility for emotions or information that you wanted to put away. I just feel like something is being forced on you. Like there's this feeling of, or they feel that something is being forced. Like they don't like the vibe. Like they're not ready to do something, but they feel like they have to. Yeah, this is definitely like unsettled and unbalanced. This isn't a really fair situation. Bad words, criticism, somebody coming at you with a bunch of bullshit, with a bunch of criticism. Or maybe somebody not talking to you, or trying to avoid talking to you because they don't like something that you did, or they're trying to hold back how they feel about one of your works of art, or something that's really something, you ever had that thing, where somebody asks you, hey, listen to my demo tape, I can't wait for you to hear it. And then you listen to it and you almost pause for a second because you're like, oh, do I really want to listen to it? Because what if I hate it? What if I can't stand it? So this could be about avoiding somebody or somebody avoiding you, so that they don't have to tell you what they really thought about something that they know is important to you. Yeah, this is definitely delusion. Being delusional, or not getting attention, not getting notoriety, somebody being very tricky, and trying to avoid a situation that's difficult. This is somebody trying to hide the truth. And then this is spirit is on your side, which tells me that the truth, it's almost like calling you to be the bigger person, which it's not glamorous at all. But ultimately, what you're working with is very confused energy. And maybe trust your instincts on this. That sense of spirit has your back. God damn, we don't always get the I'm sorry that we need, do we? We don't. We don't. And this is that sense of like maybe spirit itself is the place to turn to right now. Talking to spirit, talking to energy, talking to angels, talking to nature, talking to God, whatever you believe in, that's the one place that you can turn to right now where you'll get the truth and you'll get honest answers. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do. You can ring that bell as well so you get notified. I upload between 12 and 14 new videos every single week. So you have your sun, your moon, your rising sign, and anybody else you want to check out. They're all there every week with brand new messages. They're not time sensitive, but there's new messages every week. So get them while they're hot. There's always an extended down below. You can go click that link and we're going to do a full tarot spread of basically what are the major challenges? What are the details that were left out here? We're going to get to the nitty gritty and ask what's the future here, as well as the romance specific interpretation of these energies is over there. It is part of that reading as well. And if you subscribe to Vimeo, like I said, you get access to these videos like a day before the link comes up here. Anyway, I hope you do subscribe and I hope you join me on Instagram. born_without_boundaries once again. These are angel messages, guys. And angel messages are really awesome because they put a whole new twist on the reading. And it always makes me shake because it's like, yeah, wow, the angels have really been listening as I've been reading because they're either confirming or guiding my advice so that I'm steered in a different direction, kind of. Anxiety. We surround you with the healing light of amethyst. Take a deep breath and breathe in this beautiful violet light. Feel your anxiety melting away. There is nothing to fear. There is only love. Maybe that's what you're worried about. You're worried about they don't love you. But the truth is, that's not true. Vision. A positive outcome requires a positive vision. Visualize everyone involved in your present situation surrounded by light and love. Make sure to include yourself also. Your love has the power to influence and transform current events. Vision is also creativity. Love. Oh my God, there's only love at the end of anxiety. And then we get the card love. The heart of love is the heart of creation. All is possible through love. All is worthwhile for love. May all you think and feel reflect love's eternal truth. So love is what you should be focusing on now instead of the confusion. Heart and soul. When making your decision, take into account what your heart and soul are saying. Sometimes the mind can deceive us. Choose through love, not fear. Or holding a grudge, right? Healing angel. Lots of healing going on. At this very moment, you are being bathed in gold, pink, and deep green light. Accept this healing. We, your angels, surround you with wings of love. You are eternally free, eternally fresh, and eternally abundant. I want specifics. I want to know the details. I'm going to get them. Please join me. The link is below. I'll see you guys in the extended.